Good day, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. After months of unending controversies, the Nigerian Senate has passed the 2016 budget. Presenting a report on the budget, Danjuma Goje, Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriations, said even though the budget was full of controversy, the Senate wouldn't want to delay its passage by adding more controversies to it. President Muhammad Buhari presented a record 6.07 trillion naira budget in December last year, but asked for its withdrawal a month later to make changes after a further drop in oil prices. Nigeria has held talks with the World Bank and even looked at borrowing from the African Development Bank and China Exim Bank to fund the 2016 budget. The Nigerian government says it will inject 350 billion naira into the economy in the next few months to stimulate it. Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun made the announcement after a two-day National Economic Council retreat held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, the nation's capital. This comes as the country's parliament passed a much-delayed budget. Giving details of the amended draft, Adeosun said the 2016 budget would be used to fast-track economic diversification in Nigeria. Nigeria, which is Africa's top oil producer, has been struggling with its deepest economic crisis in years, brought on by the fall in crude oil prices.
From the Federal Ministry of Finance, in anticipation of the approval of the budget, we have actually lined up around 350 billion, which will be pumping into the Nigerian economy in the forthcoming months. We explained our rationale and the processes that we put in place, safeguards to ensure that this money actually achieves the desired objective, which is to stimulate the economy. We're already discussing with some of the contractors who will be paid these monies and the objective and the overall determining criteria is how many Nigerians will be re-engaged. So we're specifically looking at contractors who have laid off staff. How many Nigerians are you going to put back to work as a result of this money that we're planning to release? And we believe that that will bring significant economic activity back. We also discussed UBEC and the need to get legislative approval to change the need for counterpart funding on the part of state governments, which we feel is indebted, putting them further into debt, to reduce that requirement for a temporary period to 10% from the current 50%. And that will release an estimated 58 billion that is currently unaccessed. And it was discussed that with that money we could possibly address around 1,000 of the worst classrooms in each of the 36 states and rehabilitate them. And of course this will also create jobs and create economic activity.
We resolved that we would concentrate our efforts in diversifying revenue sources, particularly that we would concentrate on revamping agriculture, which is key. We resolved to set national targets for self-sufficiency in a number of identified crops. In particular, we resolved to work together to make sure that by the end of this year, we will be self-sufficient in tomato paste. We also resolved to ensure that working together with the states, that by the end of 2018, we will be self-sufficient in rice. That means we're going to expand rice cultivation in very many states to ensure that we can achieve that by 2018. We also resolved that we're going to work together to achieve self-sufficiency in wheat production by 2019. Each state government is encouraged to identify at least 2 agricultural crops in which they have comparative advantage. And we'll work together to open up rural and feeder roads to facilitate transportation of agricultural produce
The other area we are agreed upon on key issues are investing in our people. Federal and state governments to work collaboratively to ensure sustainability of the school feeding and other social protection programs. Cooperation from the State Ministry of Education and SUBEB for the Teacher Corps program. Logistic support on the proposed upgrade of the 73 existing ND facilities across the various states in empowerment centers. Cooperation and coordination with the state on the specific job creation efforts. State government support on identified needs such as infrastructure and/or space for innovation hubs. State government support for artisan training, scoping, and support for existing artisan culture, use of existing training facilities. Other areas, it is quite long, but other areas we agreed to do something other investment, industrialization, and enabling monetary policies. Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to develop metrics of actions to be taken by the federal and state governments towards achieving the targeted improvements in ease of doing business ranking by the 30th of April 2016.
President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the series of blasts that hit Brussels on Tuesday, killing more than 34 people and injuring 174 others. In a statement on Tuesday, President Buhari commiserated with the Prime Minister Charles Michel and Belgians over the loss of lives in the multiple attacks. He said the attacks on Belgium reinforced the need for greater international cooperation to effectively eradicate terrorism globally. And now, still on terrorism, a security expert in Nigeria, Ona Ekomo, has warned of an imminent Al-Qaeda attack on Nigerian soil. In a press release issued in Lagos, Ekomo urged government and corporate security executives to take urgent proactive steps in preventing the attack. He cited Lagos and Abuja as the most likely targets for the insurgents. Ekomo said, quote, intelligence analysis conducted from open source materials on Al-Qaeda activities in West African nations shows Nigeria is in the next logical target for an active shooter attack by a 6-man hit team of terrorists, end of quote. The Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the corruption trials of spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, and Nigeria's former defense chief, Alex Bade. Metu is standing trial on a 7-count charge bordering on criminal breach of trust, corruption, and money laundering, while Bade is currently facing a 10-count charge for crimes bordering on money laundering and has been granted bail for the sum of 2 billion naira. The court clerk on Wednesday announced the adjournment of both trials till Thursday, March 24, 2016, but failed to give any reasons. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on the presidency to create a panel to probe the violence that threw rerun elections in Rivers State, southern Nigeria. National chairman of the PDP, Senator Ali Modu Sheriff, was speaking at a press conference organized in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The PDP chairman said the party was disappointed with the way security agents conducted themselves during the exercise on Saturday.
While we rejoin all Nigerians to condemn violence, which reportedly characterize the process in some area, we enjoin the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to immediately constitute a panel to carry out a dispassionate investigation of the circumstances with the view of unraveling the truth and bringing the culprits into book. The PDP also condemned the role reportedly played by some armed forces of the members of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who have said to have some cases acted beyond the role of maintenance, law and order, and taking over the responsibility of INEC in order to actualize the real election. The fact of the matter is that some of them did act flagrantly and beyond maintenance, law and order. In some cases, disobeyed the court order, contrary to the law that enacted them. Our long-held view, proven over the years by the attitude of accepting declared result of election, and that the mandates of Nigerian people is sacred. And anybody, any party which seek to govern Nigeria or any part must solicit and obtain the mandate of the people through the ballot box, freely and openly given to them by the people of Nigeria. We, as a party, have contested election in this country. We accepted defeat when we lose election, but we will not accept our rights to be denied. We call on INEC to release all the elections that have already been announced in their locality. The winners of those elections are known by people. Therefore, it is not right in the middle of the process, while elections have been announced, for INEC to come to the middle of the road and say it's stopped pronouncement. And I think this is not good for democracy. INEC should be seen to be an independent electoral umpire.
The Nigeria Customs Service has banned importation of rice through land borders in the country. In a statement, the Customs Public Relations Officer, Wale Adeniyi, said the ban will take full effect from March 25th, 2016. He added that the Customs Service also generated 1.69 billion naira in the last 2 months. According to him, this is much lower than the revenue projected by the Customs Service. Inspector General of the Nigerian Police Force, Solomon Arase, has ordered the extension of the deadline for the ongoing validation of the tinted permits, police character clearance and firearm license from March 18th to May 31st, 2016. A statement issued by a spokesperson of the police force, ACP Olabisi Kolawole in Abuja, said the extension became necessary to enable members of the public seamlessly key into the electronic platform initiative of the Nigerian Police Force Central Information System. The Inspector General of the Police Force also directed all state command commissioners of police to ensure that nobody is exploited and extorted on account of validating tinted permits, firearms license and police character certificate, as revalidation is free of charge. A Federal High Court in Abuja, a Federal High Court Judge Justice Abdul Kafarati has withdrawn himself from the suit filed by Senate President Bukola Saraki, seeking to stop his trial at the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The judge, in a statement Tuesday, said he decided to pull out of the case due to allegations that he received a 2 billion naira bribe to serve justice in Saraki's favor. Justice Kafarati said the allegations were a dent on his reputation and the only thing he could do was to honorably pull out of the case. Saraki is facing a 13-count charge of false declaration of assets while he was governor of Kwara State. He has since pleaded not guilty to the charges leveled against him. A Nigerian group known as the Civil Liberty Organization, CLO, has called for fairness at the ongoing trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki. Addressing journalists at a briefing in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, CLO urged the Code of Conduct Tribunal and the federal government not to compromise the anti-corruption agenda in order to gain leverage over any group or individual.
We acknowledge that this is part of the administration's effort in stamping out corruption and all its vestiges from our national life. However, after reviewing the ongoing trial so far, the CLO contends that while engaging in this battle, the government may be unwittingly working in error and playing into the hands of those whose interest it is to wither down and frustrate the anti-corruption battle. The organization firmly holds that nobody is above the law as one of the cardinal principles of the rule of law. We therefore support every effort at arraigning anyone suspected to have put his hands in the public team before the court of law for proper prosecution and discharge or conviction as appropriately prescribed by law. However, the process must conform to the well-enunciated dictates of equity, fair play, and justice.
Time for a short break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Please stay tuned.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, funny white man, funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, when she move along the street, yeah, me should like there, I'm going girl. You know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few, I'm forever taking it personal. I will listen 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? My brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We did the way you did.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. You're watching TV360 News now. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has raised the benchmark interest rate from 11 to 12%. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said the decision was reached by the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, of the bank. The Apex Bank also raised the cash reserve ratio for commercial banks to 22.5% from 20%, and it held the liquidity ratio at 30%. The MPC began its two-day meeting on Monday in Abuja, the nation's capital.
The committee urged the bank to continue to upscale its surveillance of the financial system with the aim of promptly detecting and managing vulnerabilities to ensure sustained stability. Finally, the committee remains committed to price stability across the range of consumer prices, exchange rate and interest rate, which is fundamental to reviving economic growth and employment generation. In the meantime, the bank would continue to leverage its development finance policy to support critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. The MPC also stressed the need to sustain, deepen, and speed up reforms designed to ensure focused coordination of monetary and fiscal policies. The committee's decision. The committee, in its assessment of relevant internal and external indices, came to the conclusion that the balance of risks is tilted against price stability. The MPC therefore voted to tighten the stance of monetary policy. One member voted to retain CRR at 20%, while another member voted to retain the current width of the asymmetric corridor. In summary, the MPC voted to 1. Raise NPR by 100 basis points from 11% to 12%. 2. Raise the CRR by 250 basis points from 20% to 22.5%. 3. Retain liquidity ratio at 30%. And 4. Narrow the asymmetric corridor from plus 200 and minus 700 basis points to plus 200 and minus 500 basis points.
Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun says that 345 billion naira was shared among the federal, state and local governments as revenue for February 2015. Adeosun, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance Mahmood Issa Duse, announced this when she addressed newsmen on the outcome of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee meeting. She said the shared amount comprised the month's legal revenue of 270.5 billion naira. There was also the exchange gain of 3.49 billion naira, which was proposed for distribution. Oil prices fell on Wednesday after figures from an industry group showed U.S. stockpiles had risen more than expected. U.S. crude futures was down 36 cents at $41.09 a barrel, while Brent crude was 25 cents lower at $41.54 a barrel. The American Petroleum Institute (API) said in a report after Tuesday's oil market settlement that U.S. crude stockpiles rose almost 9 million barrels last week to reach a record high of nearly $532 million. Two brothers are behind the multiple bomb explosions in Brussels which killed more than 30 people. The men, identified as Khalid and Ibrahim El Barawi, blew themselves up in the airport's departure hall on Tuesday. The officials said these suicide bombers were known to the police for links to organized crime. Brussels police say Najim Lakrawi, another suspect, seen pushing a luggage trolley through the airport in CCTV footage released, is still on the run. A fifth person has died of Ebola in Southeast Guinea since March 17th, a health official in the country has confirmed. This raises concerns that another outbreak of the deadly virus could spread across the continent. The latest case was detected in Macenta Prefecture, about 200 kilometers from the village of Korokbara, where 4 other Ebola deaths had occurred. Health officials in the country's Ebola coordination unit has traced an estimated 816 people who may have come into contact with victims of the disease. Following this discovery, Liberia has closed its border with Guinea as a precaution against Ebola virus. The world's worst Ebola outbreak on record is believed to have killed more than 11,300 people in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, as well as Nigeria. The Nigerian Football Federation has warned spectators who are planning to attend the crucial AFCON 2017 qualifiers between Super Eagles and the Pharaohs of Egypt to avoid bringing any weapons into the stadium. NFF General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi, who made the appeal, also urged Nigerians to passionately support the Eagles in their search for an important 3 points. The crucial African Cup of Nations qualifier will be played in Kano State on March 25th with the second leg in Alexandria 3 days later. World number 1 Novak Djokovic has apologized for the outrage which his comments about female tennis players has created. The Australian Open champion had been facing a lot of criticism for saying that men should be paid more than women because they draw more crowd. Djokovic has, however, apologized for his comments and blamed the euphoria of his victory at the Indian Wells for his comments. Well, that's all we have on news now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.